afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the January 23rd, 2019 edition of Topic Time with Harrison Young. We got another great show for you tonight, as usual. We got another great guest, but of course, we got to get to the underwriters first, and then we'll get to the guest and the show. So we got John's Greenhouses and Florist Shop in Brockton. We got Generation 1 Tattoo in Plymouth. That's a new one. We got Angels Auto Parts and Towing in Plimpton. That's another new one. We got MDI Auto Brokers in Whitman, home of the fully certified used car. We got Vape Solutions in East Bridgewater. We got Dave's Automotive in Hanson. We got Hennessey Automotive in Kingston. And we got Smoke and Ashes Tobacco Company, the corporate office in Abington, at stores in Abington, Hanson, Hanover, Pembroke, Weymouth, and Whitman. And now we will start the show. So tonight we have another actor. I mean, I've got a chock full of great guests. The talents just keep rolling in here. We're going to love that. This is Mike Maggiani. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yep, that's how. And
you're an actor, and you've been in and I'm going to tell you, when we plugged your appearance on Topic Time, you sure got a lot of support from the people out there that know you, that you've probably worked with, and and you have a big fan base, I would say.
Yeah, it's nice to have friends.
Well, friends too, yeah, that's true. But you've obviously earned that position of being idolized by the American public, at least around here, and that love great films. And you've been in some, and we're going to talk about that. And we're going to look at a demo reel, and we're going to talk about you specifically too, which is what I do with all my guests. So, Mike, first, thanks for coming in and being on Topic Time tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you look like a guy. You look like a very distinguished, guy that knows acting, that you have some skills. You've been doing this for a while, I guess. Well, let me you tell me, how long have you been doing it? And I'm going to, I'm looking at you and I'm thinking you may be a slight bit older than I am, but I want to go back to your childhood and figure out how you got to where you're at now. What were you like as a kid? Where did you grow up, and how did it lead to what you're doing now? So please enlighten us.
Well, I grew up in Quincy, Italian family, so
okay.
Talked with our hands quite a bit.
Me too.
So after high school, I went to 2 years of chef school.
Okay.
And then on to the University of Massachusetts.
You must know Frankie and Bergamo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so my whole career has actually been in food, and as a chef, and then in retail, and then as an executive chef in hotels, restaurants, clubs.
Okay.
And I retired in 2011, and in 2012, my daughter, who at the time was a theater and music major, sent me a link as a joke, because her and I love films.
Okay.
Your
daughter was a music major where?
At Dean.
Okay, in Franklin.
Yeah.
Just had a Franklin guest on my show last year, but go on, that's great.
And then it was looking for 60-year-old Italian men for a feature film.
Okay.
And she goes, here you go, Dad. Here's your break. And she did as it a joke. So I was looking at it, and I said, you know what? Let's see what I can do. And they said, well, you need a headshot, and I didn't have a headshot.
Okay.
So I went through my digital pictures, and I came across a picture with me, my niece, and our friend Allison Foland, and it was down the North End in front of one of the restaurants there. So I said, well, this is the closest thing I have. And I said, Allison is an actress, and she's well known in the local films, and she's been in quite a few major films. And we were out to dinner in the North End the night before her audition for The Fighter.
Okay. Oh, okay. With Mickey Ward film?
And she played Mark Wahlberg's character's ex-wife.
Wow, so she worked directly with him.
Yeah, and she got the role.
Great.
So I said, here I am in the North End with the actress Allison Fold, and I figured maybe I'd plug that, maybe it meant anything. Unbeknownst to what the film was, because usually when they start any feature films, they always come up with a blank name. They don't want to advertise where it's filming, the name of it.
Okay.
So 2 days later, I got a phone call from the assistant director. She said, we'd like to have you come down and meet you, talk to you, have you sign some papers. Are you interested? I said, sure. So after we got through talking, she told me what to do. She said, well,
wait a minute. Now, quick question. Did you actually audition for this film or not?
No, it was for a featured role in a scene as a featured actor.
Okay.
It was for a mob boss.
Yeah, you kind of look like you fit that mold.
And
Yep. So well, just curious, how did they just saw you in the North End and said this guy's our Don?
well, no, I didn't realize it at the time. So I absolutely.
Well, I get that, but I'm just wondering, was this their evaluation upon seeing you were there? Is that how it worked out?
I'll get to it.
Okay.
So I was, after we got done talking, I said, by the way, what film is this? He says, well, it's American Hustle.
Okay, wow.
So I said, oh, wow. And then it dawned on me, Allison Folland was in The Fighter, and David O. Russell was the director for The Fighter and American Hustle. So
Okay.
somebody must have got to him and said, well, this guy knows Allison. Maybe he's an actor. So anyway, I went in. 2 days later, after costume and everything, went to Worcester for the restaurant scene. And David O. Russell picked me up to the lineup to come in and go in because he was placing everybody in the scene. And to make a long story short, after about an hour, in comes Jennifer Lawrence, Christian Bale, Jeremy Renner, and Elizabeth Rome.
Wow.
And I'm going, I can't believe it,
Thought you were dreaming, didn't you?
So we had down the street was where they were using for makeup and costume and everything. And that day at a lunch break, I met all these people. The guys who were with me, the Italian crew, so to speak, they've been in The Departed, some of them The Sopranos, one was in the original Rocky. And it's like, these guys already have resumes.
Wow.
And this is my first film.
I'm just curious, why would they do the restaurant scene in Worcester when you had all those great restaurants in the North End?
Well, this restaurant is it's still there.
Yeah.
And it's a beautifully appointed restaurant, a flashback from the 50s with the tin ceilings,
Okay.
a beautiful carved bar.
So they
and
needed a
all
50s
the
scene,
original,
is that it?
the original stuff, because it took place in the 70s.
Okay, gotcha.
So I get to meet all these local actors, and one guy, a friend of mine, said, look, why don't you, if you like it, what the heck, you're retired now, you can take on all these, roles if they need stuff for films. You got plenty of time on your hands, so take some acting classes and see if you like it. So that's what I did. I took a few acting classes in Boston and New York, and Strayon here in Boston, and Boston Casting.
Wow.
And started getting calls to be in other films, and then at the same time get involved in student films, because that's a good way to break into it. Now, I was a novice.
You too.
It's a good way to feel out your characters, go over your lines, and develop your character as you could see it on the script. So I started doing that and got a few calls for some indie films, and then about while I was doing that, one of my other friends noticed I was acting, and by that time I had been involved in about 2 years, a year and a half.
Okay.
And she had said, look, they're looking for a food stylist for a film, a documentary. Are you
Okay.
interested? So I said, sure. So I contacted the
Documentary on
assistant
what, like cooking?
No, the film was God Knows Where I Am. And it was on PBS about 6 weeks ago nationwide.
Okay.
And it's about mental illness and the life of Linda Bishop.
Oh, yes, up in Maine, right?
Up in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, okay.
And in it, she fantasized while she was suffering from paranoia and schizophrenia, all these meals that she loved to cook, because she was a wonderful cook.
Yeah.
And she was dreaming and fantasizing about, I wish I could do this again, that again. And so we ended up, I had to recreate 26 films for the camera.
Wait a minute, what do you mean recreate 26 films?
As she was going over the diary that she wrote,
Okay.
listing all the items and the dinners and all that, I recreated them for the camera, as she was describing.
What exactly does that mean? You recreated them by doing what?
Getting the ingredients and making the dishes for the
Oh,
camera.
you're talking about food. You were cooking.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that was part of the documentary.
Food styling, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, we filmed for a whole week up in New Hampshire in the house that she passed away in.
How old a woman was she?
She was about 56 when she passed away.
Wow.
And, it just shows a decline of somebody into normal person into mental illness and how you can slip through the cracks.
Yeah. Wow.
And
so bad.
in a short summation, it's like you won't look at another homeless person again the same way
Right.
after seeing this film because they don't start out homeless. Something happens to them.
Yes.
So we did the film. We entered in the two producers were Todd and Jed Wider,
Okay.
and they won the Academy Award in 2008 for Taxi to the Dark Side.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
this was their first film as producers and directors.
Okay.
And so we were close. The cinematographer, Gerardo Puglia, who did an amazing job. And it was a rough week in the frigid countryside of north of Concord, New Hampshire.
Wow.
And
So you did mostly
done
stuff
really
outside?
well. We did it in the house she passed away in, which had no running water, no heat, and no electricity.
No wonder she died so young. Wow.
And she starved to death.
Oh, that's it. Oh, that's awful. So you were trying to make people aware of the plight of people that are going through this
right,
stuff.
and bring to life her past and as in a flashback
okay.
kind of a way. And when you see the
real-
food styling video,
Sure.
you'll understand what it is.
Okay.
And now it's on. It was on nationwide on PBS
Okay. Wow.
about 6 weeks ago, and it's now on Netflix on demand, so you can watch it on demand.
Wow, that's great. So you've been done all this since 2012, so the last 7 years or so.
Yeah, and that was really the only food styling gig I've done. For me to really get into feature films versus documentary indie films, I have to join the union
Okay. You're not in the
as a
union?
crew member. No.
Okay.
I was, the reason I'm not in the union, I'm too waivers shy of being in the union is because of the film tax credit issue in state of Massachusetts. If they were going to renege and get rid of the film tax credit, no movies would be showing in Massachusetts anymore. And you have to be a union actor if you want to make more money or be involved in films. About 80% of every major film has to be union. After that, they can go after and get non-union, and that's where I would come in.
Okay.
So, so I was reluctant to get the union because if they pulled the rug out from the film tax credit, the only thing I couldn't do commercials because commercials are pretty much 90% non-union.
Okay, you've done commercials too?
Yeah, I've done commercials. I've done mostly corporate web videos for their websites, and where they're just finishing up another one now that I believe is going to be not only on their website, but made into a TV advertisement. They're going to whittle it down for
I can't wait to see
30
it.
seconds. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, in the meantime, now we're going to take a little break and look at your stuff. What do you say?
Yeah, I think the first one we'll probably show is the acting reel, and then after that we'll have the food styling segment. They're not that long.
Sounds good. Okay, and without further ado, check it out, and then we'll be right back.
Folks in town said they saw a car turn up this way last night, so I thought I'd come by and check things out. You hear the news?
About the invasion?
It was a hoax. So, I guess you're up here because of that. I guess you relax a bit, I guess. Okay. Take care. There's a body out there, isn't there?
Can I trust you?
Is that safety on?
No.
Then yes, you can trust me.
Are you human?
Am I human?
Are you human?
Yes. Marty, stay with me. It's not your fault. You killed your family, Marty. It's okay. Just let me help you. Have they ever talked to you about this?
No.
Whatever their decision is, they will always love you. We all do. Well, that sucked. Who wrote those stupid lines?
You did, Dad.
Here you go, Cindy. A bookmark. I need you to stop the noise complaints, Melina. Not your life story.
It's not as cold, so I went out for apples. It's not that many more to pick. I'm hungry. I keep thinking about what I'd like to eat. For breakfast, warm stewed apples with ricotta. Big, nice lamb chop with sauteed mushrooms. Knockwurst and sauerkraut. I'm spending a lot of time daydreaming about food.
That is, I mean, you have the magic touch, and it was amazing that you were able to do all that, and given your skills as a chef and all that, making you, just right for what you did in that demo. That was beautiful, and how long did it take you to coagulate all that stuff together? I mean, that stuff is over the last 7 years.
Yeah, since 2012.
12. Wow.
In 2012, and funny, my daughter answered for American Hustle as a girlfriend, kind of like a escort girlfriend for some of the representatives and congressmen in the film.
Okay.
And
didn't make you feel kind of weird to have your daughter in that?
no, I was hoping she could get in it, but what had happened, they had postponed the shoot a couple of times, and then when they finally lined up the actual shoot, that was the day of the marathon bombing.
Oh man, wow.
So after they shut down the city, and by that time waiting another 3 days, they're going to be behind budget, so they just decided to cancel the
Well, where
shoot
were you?
outright.
Where were you during that event? That awful event?
Oh, I was done with all my.
Okay, and you
Footage.
don't. No, so the filming was all
Yeah, I did 2 days for American Hustle. If you
speaking role for you at all?
excuse me.
Speaking role?
No, actually, I was in one scene with David O. Russell directed me through the scene, which I
Okay.
was going to be on camera for a whole 7 or 8 seconds by myself.
Right.
And they ended up edited it and put it on the cutting room
Yeah,
floor.
I understand that does happen. But the
But-
guys, the fact
But
that
it
you
was good. It was a learning experience
Sure.
for me.
working with those people, Jennifer Lawrence, Christian Bale.
Well, for somebody like me, it's always I always welcome anything I can possibly get, because I'm always competing with people from Juilliard or New York University acting schools, or these kids have gone through college for acting and theater.
Right.
And I have really just a short lifespan as far as what I've been doing in film. So it's a big learning experience for me. And I welcome it. I'm always learning. But, one thing I kind of sold me on it was in the middle of watching the set. Now, we were on set for, at least 14 hours on American Hustle.
Okay.
On that one day, which is cut down to about a minute.
Right.
on
Wow.
the movie.
Of course, I know. I've been in extras in some big films too.
And one thing I was curious about, and what I certainly could understand, was the everybody backstage, the electricians, the lighting people, makeup people, set designers, carpenters, all running around, and it's like this organized chaos, what kitchens are like.
Okay. Right.
So when you're going to back of a hotel kitchen, it's like backstage, and the show is always the dining room. So I could use that as a parallel, because I understood this.
Yeah.
I could understand what's going on.
It's basically real
And
life,
I
life
felt at
imitating
home
art.
in that
Or
environment.
in this case, cooking, which is an art in of itself too.
Yeah, and just felt, I was, because I know this. I've been here before.
What restaurants did you work at as a chef when you before you
I
retired?
worked, Sheridan, Boston, when
Okay.
I first came out of school.
5-star stuff.
Bay Tower. Then I worked kosher catering for 3.5 years, a golf club for 14 years, and I was a chef for the Boston Symphony Orchestra
Wow.
at Tanglewood for 2 seasons.
My parents go there every summer. They might eat your food.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
They told me they loved the food there.
And then I got into retail and environment later on, so I got to spend more time with my kids.
Okay.
And ended up in 2011 retiring, and still keep my hands, still cook, but this whole thing has pivoted me away from food, but into film and acting
Right.
since then. So
You know,
pretty much-
10 years ago at this time, you probably wouldn't have believed that you'd be doing it.
no.
Well,
not
that's
at all.
why I
In
always
fact,
say everything happens for a reason.
My daughter says she's created a monster.
Well, that's good. I'm sure it's a very good monster. So, where venues have you acted in? Like you said, you were in New York for something. Doing anything
Yeah,
down
down
there?
at Actors Connection for a film acting intensive, at Boston Casting, and then for Boston Strayon,
Okay.
and then Emerson College, BU.
Okay. You did student films there? In those
Yeah,
schools?
both
Okay.
Emerson and BU,
Right.
and then other small independent films, shorts and such. Always try to get involved with and interspersed with the commercials or just different web videos, such
Sure.
like that. So right now, what I've done since then is I've taking classes in voiceover. So
Okay.
that's my next move, is to get into
That would have
voiceovers.
been my next question. That's awesome.
So as I get is to augment what I'm doing now, and I'm just really entrenched in the local community, the whole scene as far as directors, producers. All my friends now are like actors, film people. So
Let me ask you.
So
No, I'm going to ask you a frank question. Do you feel that what you're doing now is more fun than what your career was before? Your careers were before. I mean, is this the peak of your life or not?
well, I mean, it's still a lot of hours when you're filming.
Right.
People don't realize that, as you know.
But that's what I'm getting at. I mean, do you feel that this is? I mean, you basically hit you hit a pinnacle of success that you never saw coming, in a whirlwind of success that you never saw coming in the acting world. You wouldn't have believed it. Now you're doing it. So what I'm wondering is, are you having more fun doing this
Oh
than
yeah,
you
a
did
lot
doing
more
the other
fun.
stuff?
A lot more fun doing
Good,
this.
okay.
And it's
Okay,
the
good.
community is such around here that everybody supports everyone else.
Right.
If they got the role that you didn't or whatever, everybody's plugging for you. It's just a very welcoming community we have here in the Boston, Massachusetts, New England
truly is.
area. So
Yeah.
and it's been great. I mean, as far as food, it's a very physical and draining career to be, getting into your 60s and trying to be on your feet for 70 hours a week.
Right.
It just
Yeah, it's true.
It's like an athlete. You know it all up here, but your body's telling you, you can't
Slow down.
can't be on your feet that amount anymore. And
yeah.
but it doesn't mean I still don't like to cook or understand it or can
Well, it was your
work
it
with
was
it, but-
it was your first trade, and it's it is truly it's the thematic of the soul, basically.
Yeah,
You
well,
gotta eat.
the other thing is I look at it another way. You're only on this planet for a short amount of time. If
Right.
you don't do what you'd like to do or want to do, stop this and just go ahead and do what you want to do, because, it's
Well, it's nice that you were able to
bunch of
make such a metamorphosis of your chosen field in such a short time. That's really impressive.
yeah, it was a transition, but
Of course.
I really enjoy it. I got
Have you ever done anything else in entertainment? You done any music? Anything?
I was in a band in high school.
Okay.
We had a jug band, and then we had a singing group in college.
Where'd you go
a
to
folk
college?
Group, UMass Amherst.
Okay, the party school. Maybe not when you were
I
there.
didn't spend that much time there, but
Right. That's good. You sound like you buckled down and got to brass tacks rather than just
Yeah, so
the
I had a
free
musical
form life that
background and,
a lot of students live, right?
you know, did singing and, you know, of course, high school and afterwards. And so, yeah, so I know what it's like to be on stage, but every time I step on a set or I learn something new.
Sure.
It's like you gather it and put it in your pocket. And
Have you ever written anything yourself, script-wise or anything
I
at all?
have
Or attempted to.
a script in mind for a film
Okay.
that I've been slowly adding to it, but it'd probably be a feature-length film. A lot of people do shorts just to see how it, to sell it. And
So
if
you got
they
the
can
big
get
Mamu in
investors.
mind already.
And then, well, it's in my family too. My cousin's son, Mark DeCristofaro, is a film producer in L.A., and he's already produced and sold 2 films, both of them on Netflix now. So,
Wow.
and he went to BU Films Production School. So, it's, you know, we have other people in the family that.
So you got people in show business in your family, including your daughter, obviously, too.
Yeah, well, she does mostly singing now. She's changed careers, but she really loves film. And we both love films.
That's great.
And my oldest daughter too. We grew up taking them all to movies. So
There you go. The passion was all around you. Well, we're under 5 minutes to go. So what I want you to do is to give some shouts out to people that are going to see this, because a lot of people are going to watch the show, and then we'll wrap it up.
well, just
Just condense them. That's all.
everybody in Hollywood East, and you all know who you are.
Right.
My friends and family, and of course my daughters are going to weigh in on this.
Of course.
But
Of course she is.
yeah, anybody who wishes to get involved in film and how to break into it, I'm the perfect example how it happened to me, and it happened to me a lot later in life than anyone else starting out in their teens and 20s.
Sure.
So if you want to get involved in it, it's auditioning is a lot like sales. You probably get the job after the 10th sales pitch you
stay
make,
with
which
it.
is your audition. So you got to stick with it and
Okay.
be persistent.
Just quickly, this isn't the first talk show you've been on, correct? You said you were in one in New York?
We did just Q&As for different films and such, but nothing elaborate, just people asking me questions. But no, this is the first real talk show I've been on.
Well, I'm honored to have had you on as a guest. Well, I hope you had fun with me tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of
I
fun.
hope you asked the good questions, and we got and I can't wait to share this show, because I know it's going to be viral and epic like most of the TV shows I host are. So on that note, are you ready to jiggy with it? And we're going to wrap it up.
Sure.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching another great episode of Topic Time. More to follow. See you next time. Take care. And that's a wrap.